Okay, we are live.
Amazing. All right, Carson, let me write down your good name. Jaden Daniels. Trade up and get him. Okay, if Jaden Daniels. You only get this job once. I'm trying to win. All right. Jaden Daniels. Carson wants Jaden Daniels. If he's not there, who's your second? Because he's not going to be there. Drake May or Marvin Harrison or Malik Neighbors. I mean, you can't mess. Okay, and then Sid, who do you want? All the girls want JJ McCarthy because he's good looking. That's the same thing with Madison. Who do you?
I'm done. That's it. Okay. So that's it. I can't. For anyone who doesn't know, that was Joe Schoen, the general manager of the New York Giants, having a conversation about draft picks with not Brian Daboll, not John Mara, not even anybody on the recruiting staff. His children.
His children.
Not even his wife. He just went straight to the kids.
He
didn't ask an adult.
His minor children, exactly.
They're all minors.
Minor children.
And I want to keep going, but the mother said something interesting, and I want her to speak on that regarding the in the first episode when he alluded to his son coming home from school. What was that about?
So first of all, we want to welcome everybody to another live edition of Family
Bonding,
the mother and son preseason show. We'll be
doing
post game shows starting, of course, when the season starts. We're weeks away, folks, but we hope you like and subscribe and check us out in the future. Put the comments in. We'd love to see your comments, especially if you end up watching us live while we're doing this. But continue with the comments even after it's posted. What the son was referencing in the earlier episodes of the Hard Knocks Off-Season with the Giants, Joe Schoen referenced that his kids, when they're at school, interact with, of course, Giants fans who share information to give to their dad. They say things like, tell your dad to do X, Y, and Z or bring this guy in or whatever. So to connect the dots from what he told us is really happening, which probably is true, because I would do that. If I went to school with Joe Schoen's kids, I would do that. I would go and say, hey, tell your dad that he needs to keep Saquon. Like I would have done that. Right. Like if I was like, right. So that makes sense. I mean, they know who he is, whatever. But the fact that Joe Schoen, in that audio clip, the actual show has a shot of him in his Giants office with his wife and three minor children. And the guy pulls out a small piece of paper and a pen. And he literally asks his kids who they feel he should pick. The guy probably did it to show like a softer side of himself. That wasn't the way. His decisions and that of other front office team members are already in question. They're totally already in question. So we don't need to see anything but like real smart decision making.
Yes.
Which we did not see in this fourth episode of Hard Knocks Off-Season with the Giants. Okay?
It was horrible.
That was the most embarrassing thing. If he had kept it to the little girl, his youngest daughter, because then it's sweet and cute. Who do you think? And then, because she didn't even know, nope. Clearly, she's not helping making like real smart decisions because he had to write the names and told her just to pick one, right? That's what happens in the scene. He writes names down and he asks this little girl. She's probably like under 6. I don't know how old she is, but she's little. She can't read.
She can't be more than 6.
Right. She's a little girl. So that's cute. But when you go to the kid who looks like he's 11 or 12 or whatever he is,
and we know
he has friends in school who knows who his dad is, and the daughter who's older, who's a teenager as well,
who wasn't even really invested in the conversation.
She totally was hiding in the background of the scene. You've got to see it. We can't show it here because of all rights and clearances and things like that. But when you watch the episode, if you look at the body language of his older child, his daughter, she clearly did not want to be even on camera. She was covering herself. And the fact that he even engaged her on it, and then that sound bite of the son saying that they what was it? Who was it? Jaden somebody because he's cute.
Jaden
Who was
Daniels.
it? Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels or whatever. It doesn't matter. JJ McCarthy. It was JJ McCarthy.
One of the guys, girls like him because he's cute.
That doesn't win
Okay,
football games.
is that a factor into just making your draft pick
It doesn't
selection
win
that
football
the
games.
New York Giants? I
You'd be
can't.
ugly as the hunchback. If you throw the football down the field 70 yards, I want you. I don't
I
care.
can't. I can't deal with this. It is deeply disturbing.
It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. And if the Giants public relations people, the mother has a public relations background, so I know two things about public relations. Okay, if they had an opportunity to edit this thing, they probably would have said not to have that whole clip in.
Absolutely, because especially since our previous seasons, we've just been trash. Aside from the one wild card season, we've been terrible for the last majority of 10 years. We've been bad.
Yes.
We have not. We've struggled to win more than 6 games.
We've had horrible GMs before him.
Yep.
And we have to question: is this a legacy process that Joe Schoen is demonstrating? Did they tell him when he got the job? Now remember, every draft you have to, if you have kids or grandkids, whatever, you have to ask them first. Is this how they came up with all of those other previous horrible picks in the last 10 years that they've made? Is
that
this
question is
possible?
possibility now because of this clip. Because of the clip that we saw, you can't say that's a ridiculous question.
You can't say
Because
it's ridiculous.
he didn't. The fact that we couldn't even show you the whole clip, he drags it on for at least another minute, and it's like, okay, I get that you're trying to show that you like to be with your family and bond with them, but not when you're making decisions for a franchise and you're trying to turn a team
No.
around that's been an embarrassment and a joke. People come play us and they're like, this is just a kind of a bye week. They say it on ESPN. They have a nice bye week against the New York Giants. We're a joke. So you want to talk about draft picks with your children? Mom, I gotta ask you a question.
Yep.
You've brought me to work when I was a kid.
Yep.
Did you ever ask me for any professional work advice?
No, and if you were there, you would have your own way of entertaining yourself, like a Game Boy
Right.
or something like that.
Why did Joe Schoen feel the need to involve his children in his work? Even if it's a joke, that's something you don't do again with the franchise that's being represented or being told or portrayed as the current Detroit Lions of old. Because the
No.
Lions have turned their franchise around. They're no longer a joke. People consider them a championship contender.
Yeah.
But now we are the Detroit Lions of old. We are the new Detroit Lions. That is what Colin Cowherd called us on one of his shows. So, or even Cleveland Brown or Brown-esque, like we're that bad. It doesn't make sense to me. And now here, let's get to the real issue here.
Okay.
Because now I'm about to go in. Joe Schoen, I need you to make sense. Because you guys went through all these hurdles and did parkour all around this issue around Saquon and let him go to the Eagles of all people. And then you immediately proceed to start looking at quarterbacks. When the original reason you did not want to keep Saquon was because you paid Daniel Jones roughly 20% of our cap salary. So you already know that you've paid 20% of the cap salary to a quarterback that doesn't deserve it. So then you want to go and look at quarterbacks now after we just lost our best player who was a running back? Something is ass backwards about that because it doesn't make sense. Your reasoning, again, I'm going to say this one more time for everybody who wasn't paying attention when I first said this. You didn't pay Saquon again because you overpaid Daniel Jones. So you decided to go all in and build around Daniel Jones. They even say that in fucking episode 3.
Yeah.
They say it.
Yeah.
So why in episode 4 are you, and I mean immediately pursuing a quarterback in the draft? They called the Patriots multiple times to see if they could switch from 6 to 3 to get Drake May. And the Patriots told them to kick rocks like they should. Because the Patriots literally said, you would have to give us a lot. Like I'm talking a first round pick this year, a first round pick next year, and multiple picks this year. And he was just like, all right, well, I'll see what I can do. And the Patriots were like, yeah, you know what? Actually, just forget about that. We want Drake May. Literally did this. Just shoo, go away. He gave up after that. And then he just decided that he was going to go for a receiver. So he originally was hell-bent on getting a quarterback. He was hell-bent on getting a quarterback. He was like, Drake May will be there at 3. We got to get him. For about 5 minutes in episode 4, they talk about that. He tried everything he could to get to 3. And then when he realized it was impossible, he just said, all right, well, who's next? And that's when we got to the point where he asked his kids. So it actually gets worse. If you watch the whole episode, they portray it in a way that he was out of options because he couldn't move up to get Drake May. Again, why are you going for a quarterback when you paid 20% of the cap salary to our current quarterback?
Exactly.
Who's young, by the way. He's not old.
Yeah, no. And the really disturbing and pathetic part of the scrambling to make some sort of deal to be able to move up and get a quarterback was that the backup plan was the plan. We'll just roll with, as Joe Schoen, I'm going to quote him, we'll just roll with Jones, and we'll roll with Daniel and try to get him some weapons. That was your plan, because that's what you agreed to when you signed him to that multi-year gazillion millions deal. That that was the plan. And somehow they had some delusion that they would be able to, let's make a deal situation, and be able to get someone to push them up. And the amount of money they would, I mean, had they even thought about what they would have to pay out to Daniel Jones to get to do all that? Were they planning just to get the QB to sit behind him?
He ain't learning anything behind him, by the way.
He's definitely, well, you know how he would learn? I don't want to fall. I don't want to get knocked down and my neck cracked open like this.
Forget
like
about
Jones.
that. He would learn not to throw the football like him, because the boy throws interceptions almost as much as he throws touchdowns.
It's true. He would definitely learn the wrong things. He's not someone that could mentor someone coming out of college and trying to be a professional QB. So
you couldn't mentor a Pop Warner quarterback.
No, he needs mentoring. He needs mentoring. The time, and what was Eli a great mentor for him? Eli was at the end of the line. He had his successes, and we're just starting to see Eli Manning's personality in his after QB life, after in retirement life, which I had no idea the guy had a personality.
I didn't either. I just saw dopey Eli.
Right. So, was that his work personality? And if so, then he would not have been a great mentor, because he doesn't look like the guy that would put his arm around the shoulders of someone behind them and say, here, this is how you do things, and you got to be careful of this. And I clearly that didn't happen enough for the guy to even have a chance.
Nope.
So it's a flawed process of letting your kids pick your draft picks.
It's a very bad look. Very bad look. Again, after desperately and immediately trying to pursue Drake May and other quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels and others, he looked at every quarterback, and that's why you see in episode 2, and I believe in episode 2, when during the combine and everything, they were interviewing a lot of quarterbacks. Like you said, what is their real plan? Because if they were talking to quarterbacks, but you said originally their plan was to get him weapons and play around and build around Daniel Jones,
right?
Why were they talking to quarterbacks?
Right.
They talked to all the quarterbacks.
The backup was the freaking plan. They're like, the backup plan was the plan. No, the backup plan was what they needed to do from John. That was what they needed to do.
I can't. It's this is the Giants right now. In essence, this is what we are. We make these half-ass plans and use the backup plan as the original plan anyway, when we know that the first plan is going to fail. It felt like Joe Schoen was going through the motions through this draft.
Yeah.
To be honest, when you're asking your kids and actually considering their thoughts and writing things down and on who we should go for, even if you're joking, yeah. Like, again, why are you joking about this situation?
It's not.
This is New York. New York. Like, yeah. New York does not play. We're not patient people. We want to see results. And again, you got fans like me who don't want to go to games until further notice. I don't want to go. I'm not interested.
I have a quote, a message that I want to give to Joe Schoen and the rest of the Giants front office. Showing how stupid and foolish you are, and bring as to have conversations about things that really shouldn't be done, such as getting a quarterback in the draft, and then also showing, allowing, and thinking that your GM entertaining draft selection ideas from his children was good. It wasn't fun, and it definitely wasn't funny, to quote a famous quote from Billy Crystal that Howard Stern used to play years ago. It wasn't fun, and it wasn't funny in a thing like this. It just
No,
wasn't.
not at all.
There's no cuteness in it.
Nope.
And I personally, if I was an athlete, if I was in the draft, right, and I saw this clip, and Malik Neighbors and anybody else who was drafted in this year in 2024, you got to look at that and be like, that really happened. Like they're showing us clips like behind the scenes. It really was discussed, and you got to look at that and be like, did I not get picked because this guy's some kid didn't say I should get picked? Or did I get picked because a freaking kid said I should be the first pick or sixth pick for the Giants? I mean, there's all kinds of reasons why you don't do that type of thing with a live camera, especially of a video that you can't control. Because that wasn't, that's not like the Giants inside video, because they would have probably deleted it.
Right.
The Hard Knocks producers and videography team came in with their own equipment. They took it away and they made a show out of it. Right. They took the video away because it was theirs,
and they signed and agreed to it.
They signed to agree to it.
So
that, and they knew they knew that they wouldn't have creative control if they. Now here's the thing. Now I used to work at the mother also. She has a very storied past. I used to also work in TV production, okay, for major networks. Editorial, which means anytime that you're not paying, like commercial you pay for, you can control everything.
Right.
Anytime you invite a editorial program like Hard Knocks in, like a Dateline or CNN, they're in control of the content. They record what they see, and they take it back and they edit it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You normally don't get to see, as the subject of the video, you don't get to see what's going to go out. That's why you have to present yourself in the best light, because what goes on air or what is published or whatever the mode of communication is being used, you typically do not get to see the final edit cut. Okay.
Which makes sense, because if he saw it, that wouldn't have been in there. It wouldn't have made it.
Right. So I just want everybody to know that, because this was not something that if they could, and I'm just banking on my professional skills here, my professional experience. If they had seen the context of which that situation with the kids in Joe Schoen's office were making draft selections, I think the front office would have said, kill that video, make it go away.
Right.
So it happened, and I guess kudos to the Hard Knocks production team for showing us that, because they could have been nice to be like, maybe we shouldn't show this. They showed that on purpose. They wanted to know that whole episode, the way it was edited with the dopey QB back and forth and begging teams to move up, and the kids, all of that was
that conversation
to make a complete mockery of the Giants. If you watch sports news at all, okay, I watch a lot of it during the week to avoid regular news because it's depressing and crazy. So I watch sports news because I get a good laugh in the morning, okay? There's not a show that has any hope for the New York Giants this season. There's no one that's saying it's possible that maybe Neighbors could make them a contender. No one is saying that about this 2024 upcoming season.
You want to know what they are saying? You just sparked my memory.
Yep.
Evan Neal is on physically unable to perform list once again.
Yes, he is. Your favorite.
He came back early.
That's the
Don't
Suns'
say that.
favorite
Don't do that.
player.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Right, it's not. I was being facetious. It's not his favorite player.
Evan Neal. I said this already. I think he's a bust.
Yeah.
Because he can't play. He supposedly was coming off of a fractured ankle. It was not a sprain. I don't know how you go from a sprain to a fracture without realizing it, but that's what happened. He came back early this spring, and went to the optionals, and supposedly had a setback. as it is phrased online. So whatever that setback is, it's not good because he's physically unable to perform. And in a situation where the team needs everybody to develop, it's not looking good for Evan Neal. And between him and Andrew Thomas, who we both got in the top 10, they both are at this point inconsistent. And for right now, I could say failures because I don't like Andrew Thomas has gotten better in certain regards, but the guy has to stay on the field.
Right.
Evan Neal,
Big time. Yeah.
never. Evan Neal missed 8 games. That's almost half the season. So like, and he missed a lot of development in that time because there was a lot of good teams that he could have played against. But it is what it is. And then now I want to go to one last thing. Brian Daboll has to be careful about what he says with that temper because he talks about his temper a lot. I don't know if you peeped it. He was like, "How do you feel about losing?" And the player looked at him like, he's like, "Be honest, just tell me because I get pissed off." He talks about that. And then he says it again in a different situation. He's like, "I lose it sometimes."
Yes,
Is that why Wink Martindale left? Aside from because I mean, a lot of those staff were, a lot of Wink Martindale's people were fired before Wink Martindale even knew about it. So if Dayball gets pissed off and is not afraid to tell people about it and all these things, that's a red flag to me because he just kept referring to it when he was talking to these people who hadn't even been drafted yet. He just kept saying, because I lose it sometimes. I lose my cool. He refers to that all the time. And it's like, I wonder what the last conversation was between Wink Martindale and Brian Daboll, because if Wink was pissed that Daboll went behind his back and fired them, that's disrespectful because those were Wink Martindale's people. He could have at least let him know, but he had the unmitigated gall, as Stephen A. Smith would say, to fire Don Wink Martindale's people and not say anything to him until Wink Martindale got the word from them that, hey, Brian Daboll's letting us go. And then I just wonder what that last conversation was like. Because he talks about he loses his cool and he gets mad.
Oh, he definitely cursed out Wink Martindale. I mean, for him to leave out in the huff, I mean,
and resign, just dip.
That's a seasoned professional, and he walked because he probably felt disrespected, and he 100% probably was disrespected.
Absolutely.
We have Ryan Williams. Thanks for joining. He says this is going to be another trash season. But I don't see Daniel Jones being any better. This organization have a lot of issues, and he doesn't believe. And he also says he doesn't believe in Jones.
I'll go one step further.
There's nothing to believe in.
I'll go one step further with you, Ryan. Forget about him improving. Daniel Jones is going to just be worse. He doesn't have Saquon. Yeah. Saquon was the one thing that gave Daniel Jones even a glimpse of a possibility of being good or even decent, because he had a check down, a guaranteed check down. He had somebody, a running back, that can go down the field and catch it. They had to put 8 people in the box for Saquon. When you have to put 8 people in the box for Saquon, that opens up other people down the field for routes, especially over the middle of the field. But that's not going to happen anymore because we don't have Saquon. They're not going to put 8 people in the box because it's not Saquon. Devin Singletary is not going to get 8 people in the box. He's not. It's not necessary. No. It's not necessary. So what do? They double cover mid-league neighbors. Who do we throw to? Wandale Robinson? That's not a guaranteed number 2. Who do we throw to? No. We're gonna throw it to what's that boy's name? The tight end. Oh my god. I can't think of his name right now. Daniel Bellinger. We're not gonna throw to Daniel Bellinger like that.
Do we still have him?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. What's his face retired, so it doesn't matter. What's his face retired, so it doesn't matter. We don't even have I don't even remember his name. He didn't do anything. He played 4 games and was hurt the rest of the season. And retired because a basketball player from the WNBA broke up with him.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember
Darren
his name.
Waller?
Darren Waller, that bum. Thank you.
Yeah.
Doesn't even deserve to have his name remembered. Imagine riding team to team your last 3 years, getting injured on all of them, and then retiring after getting dumped by a WNBA player. What a loser!
Oh my god.
I can't.
It's bad. It's bad. It's so bad.
And then finishing with the Giants of all teams and doing that. Getting hurt again. And then just riding the bench. And then retiring.
You
can't make this up. The Giants sold our souls for those 2 rings against the Patriots. We don't have anything in the tank left.
No,
I wouldn't be
no.
surprised if this was another miserable decade of football. I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
All the way up to 2030. I wouldn't be surprised if this was just misery.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't. We definitely, one of my friends who's an Eagles fan, he said to me, y'all set yourselves back another 10 years when you signed Daniel Jones to that big contract. And I was like, you know what? He's right. There's no way to recover from this until Daniel Jones is gone. And even then, we will still be suffering for several years. Because there's no guarantee we'll get the generational quarterback talent. There's no guarantee we'll have an offensive line to protect him. We'll still be rebuilding and still trying to figure out who the hell we are as a team. The Giants of old would be sick to the stomach if they knew that this is how the team would be. Like if they were still playing and someone just said, came from the future and said, hey, this is what the team's going to be like after you guys retire. Michael Strahan's always embarrassed to support us. He's always embarrassed. And when he does root for us in the games, whenever everyone bets against him, he'll say we're going to win by 1 or 3 points, if that. He doesn't even have the confidence to say, oh, we'll just win. He'll be like, hey, it'll be a close one, Giants by 3. like he can't say too much because he can't say too much. You know what I'm saying, right? He can't say too much and be like, oh, I think we're going to beat them by, it'll be 21-7. He can't say that.
No, it would.
He always says it'll be close. Come on, Giants by 3 or by 1 at the last second. That's what he always says. There is never any confidence.
He's definitely on payroll saying that because I don't
even.
I
Yeah.
mean, how do you even?
With a straight face, he's saying it too. By the way.
Yeah. How do
and people
you
be laughing at him? They laugh at him when he says it. They be chuckling at him because he's like, "Come on, Giants!" and they start laughing at him. We're a joke. We're a freaking joke, and it's not going to change. Especially with these videos coming out from Hard Knocks, I'm scared to see what they release next. What's next? Because we started off, they showed us everything they did wrong with Saquon. Now they showed us what they did wrong with the draft in the sense of preparing for it and trying to get a quarterback. When they said they wanted to stick with a quarterback. Now we see Joe Schoen asking his kids, not his wife, his kids.
Not that the wife would be.
Not that the wife has any credibility whatsoever, but it's an adult. It's an adult though. Like he went from adult with no experience to children with no experience.
Right.
He skipped over a level of inexperience to go to his children to discuss draft picks. What? It doesn't make sense to me. None of it makes sense. I'm terrified to see what the next episode has to show us. Like, what is next? Are we going to see that maybe they are upset that they didn't get what they wanted? Maybe they have doubts about the newspapers. What's next?
I don't know. I mean, it's
embarrassing.
It's extremely embarrassing, and the idea that this is something that they thought that it was probably a cool idea to have the Hard Knocks production team follow them around in the off season and preseason. They probably thought, oh, this would be great publicity. It'd be great. They're in la la land. Clearly,
they're delusional. That's my new phrase. They're delusional.
They're delusional. Nothing about this is showing great decision making. Nope. The decision to say yes, come this preseason, we're ready to show how we're preparing. That was just poor decision making. Poor decision making on considering trying to move up to and trade away your life for a QB. Poor decision making of different activities. Poor decision making of talking about personality flaws, like Dayball talking about him being, and he's lean, he's in his most relaxed state, by the way, when he's talking about how he, and he didn't even put context around it. Basically he just said, I'm an asshole.
Yeah, he's like, because I fucking lose it.
Yeah. That's
literally what he says.
It's okay.
He's like, be honest, because sometimes I fucking lose it.
Who wants to work for that guy? Whether you're coaching staff, support staff beyond that, or a player, who wants to work for the guy who talks about losing his cool and does so in a casual way? These are not things that are going to make people want to be Giants in any capacity.
I'm sure Kayvon Thibodeau can't wait to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, I mean, clearly
I'm sure he can't wait.
Clearly he has a better prospects in the future for himself, right? So we can only hope that he stays enough to demonstrate that this is what we have is a little something to get us further. But again, we're not expecting very many wins. No one is.
Nope.
No one is expecting major wins. You look at the schedule, you can actually see the games that the Giants will 100% lose.
We getting blown out by 40 to the Ravens. I don't care.
Yeah,
That's gonna be a bloodbath. That's gonna be an absolute bloodbath.
Ryan shared that Ryan Williams, he's shared again that, or they, I'm sorry, I don't know if you're a male or female. I hate to see Neighbors and Hyatt career go to waste, especially with pro check down. What does it say? Pro check down quarterback. Do you think you'll see these receive get the ball? Oh yeah, I don't know if these receivers will get the ball. I just don't see
How are they
it.
gonna
It's
get the
just
ball
not
if the line don't block? The other line improved,
if
but
the quarterback is on his back.
he's not. We're not getting the ball out.
Where's the ball going to be on his either on his side or someone running on defense with the ball for a TD?
When you look at it like this, it's a big question mark. I don't know what the product's going to be. Malik Neighbors is the number one wide receiver. We have no running back to take attention away from the pass game. I don't know how this is going to go because Evan Neal is again physically unable to practice right now. That's a lot of rep time he's missing. It's a lot of just getting back into the groove of things he's missing. Who's to say he's even going to be ready come season? I don't know.
Right.
There's a lot of question marks that would leave me to say Malik Neighbors will want to get the fuck out of New York at some point because he's not going to get the ball. Because Malik said in the interview, he even said this, it was recorded on Hard Knocks. If I don't get the ball, I'm going to let you know about it. Who else did that? Kenny Galladay, who didn't deserve to do it, but he did it. Golden Tate also did it. Golden Tate was pissed at Daniel Jones. Yeah. Multiple receiver. Kadarius Toney was pissed at, although I don't like him. He was also pissed. The common denominator here has been every receiver that has played with Daniel Jones, aside from what the hell is his name? The undrafted homie. No, not Victor Cruz. I'm like missing all these fools' names. It's bad. Whatever his name is, it'll come back to me later at some point. But aside from that one receiver who I can't remember his damn name because he was an undrafted free agent that just made it. You know who I'm talking about? The brother.
You got to be more specific. It's a lot of brothers.
The issue is that he doesn't do good enough for us to remember them. That's the problem. We have forgettable people on the roster.
It's true.
They're forgettable. Wando Robinson is not forgettable because I remember his plays that he made before he got hurt. Again, somebody got hurt like almost immediately. Jesus. It doesn't. But anyways, what I was saying was the common denominator. All these receivers have been pissed at Daniel Jones. Malik Neighbors is not going to be any different. I feel like he's going to get upset. He's going to be like, man, I'm open, but Daniel Jones isn't throwing me the ball. So I don't know. It's not a good feeling in my stomach, guys. I could see the big losses now. I can see the rage podcasts. I can see all of it.
Oh yeah, there's gonna you gotta make sure you subscribe because we're gonna have rage podcasts. And to just remind folks, if you have spent any amount of time watching again sports media and seeing the early publicity appearances from Malik Neighbors, okay, they forced this kid to right after draft to go on one of those early morning, I don't know, it was Get Up or one of those early morning shows, okay, before 9:00. First of all, he wasn't happy about being up early.
I wouldn't be.
So that wasn't the best time to show someone who may not be as enthusiastic anyway about his new job and who he's working for. It came off so bad. It really came off like he was just like, I'm here because they told me I had to be here kind of thing. And the enthusiasm really hasn't been there so far. And he's been on the field with his team, in preseason stuff. And he knows what he's dealing with. He knows what they have and what they don't have. He could see Daniel Jones and the confusion that he often has in his face.
Because, Daniel Jones is also coming off of a torn ACL. So it's like he's not even 100%.
No.
He already was trash at 100%. What the hell is he going to be now?
Yeah.
He was already bad.
Yeah, 100%
The
already
knee doesn't
bad.
make it any better.
No,
So
no,
Malik Neighbors is gonna want the hell out of Dodge. He's gonna want out, and I won't be mad at him for it.
no, no. There's not much that it can be done um to keep him. I mean, I don't know how many years he signed for
I
and
think
what
rookies
he,
minimum do 2 to 3 years.
yeah. Uh,
I
but
think it's 2 years.
if he's a turns out to be a generational talent on a otherwise talentless team, he'll definitely want out.
He'll be the next Saquon.
Hmm.
But the difference is Saquon didn't want out. Damn, I'm making myself mad. All right, I gotta stop mentioning Saquon.
Yeah, yeah. He was ride or die. And
We're not gonna get a generational talent like that ever again that wants to be ride or die giant. I don't think people who don't watch football a lot, it is very rare to get a talent like Saquon that wants to die a giant.
right, right.
That's like Giannis Antetokounmpo level. I don't want to leave the Bucks type stuff.
Yeah.
Or Damian Lillard before he went to the Bucks when he was on the Portland Trailblazers. Everyone was like, "Why won't Damian Lillard leave?" He wanted to be loyal. Saquon wanted to do the same thing through all of the trashy lost seasons, the crazy historical stats in a bad way. Saquon wanted to stay. The Giants said, "We don't really want you." That's pretty much what
No.
happened. And then they foolishly went to go try to look for any team that would be dumb enough to trade with them so that they could steal Drake May from them. I can't.
It's
There's nothing
yeah.
else really to discuss for this episode. Again, we have to see what horrifying news comes up next on episode 5, which I don't think they come out weekly, right?
Yes, they're up weekly. They from what I last saw, they pop up on 9 p.m. on Tuesday night.
9
Yeah.
p.m. Tuesday
So
nights. Okay, so
yeah, that's when they pop up on HBO Max or Max or whatever they call themselves now.
both. All right, so that works then.
That's yeah,
We'll react to the
that's
next episode then.
yeah, because
I'm terrified.
yeah, it's a terrifying situation, right? It's a situation that it's just a train wreck, a weekly train wreck that we are watching.
Oh
It's a
yes,
weekly
absolutely
train wreck.
terrible.
And I don't even have hope that the episodes are going to reveal something positive. I
Nope.
have no hope with that. I think it'll just give us more fodder
It's getting
for
worse
our
and worse.
podcast.
Yeah, it's worse and worse every episode. Like the first episode, I was like, okay, they fucked up. Second episode, I was like, oh, they look kind of stupid. Third episode, I was just like, this is a shit show, and
Right.
it's
Who
just
are
been
these
worse.
idiots?
It's just gotten worse and worse and worse, and I can't.
The fourth episode just revealed more than what any fan should see going on. Again, leadership is something that should be taken seriously, and you always every as a leader you should always be seen in the best light. No one
Right.
should, there used to be a saying, you never let them see you sweat.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, we saw a lot of sweat in this episode 4 with the scrambling and all that we talked about with the trying to move up in the draft and all that. But and there was no calculated decisions.
Nope.
It just shows, like the
Nonchalant
inmate.
decisions.
Yeah, yeah, and it just in we see a elderly owners. I forgot that they're owned the Tish family and the Mara family owned the Giants, and they had Tish was there and Steve Tish and John Mara, and they're sitting there, basically eating almost like eating popcorn while waiting for draft things to happen, and they're the ones who control the money, and they could have made a number of things happen that were before the draft to ensure at least we had Saquon, but they didn't, and
All they said was that they were upset with how it happened,
but
which makes no sense to me. That's like saying, I don't know how I fucked this up.
right.
That's like exactly what he said. That's
Yeah.
basically what he said.
Meanwhile, it was everything was in their control. Everything was in their control.
Right.
And if we didn't have that inside information of being able to watch the show, we wouldn't have known how much control they had. We could have speculated, if
Right.
they had an argument with Saquon. We could have speculated that they were always focused on getting a wide receiver,
Right.
to give Daniel Jones weapons. But I wonder how Daniel Jones feels now. Also, how do
I don't
you
want to know how
feel?
that dumbass feels.
But just think about it as an employee. I mean, and I mean, obviously, it's a business where you can easily get drafted away or whatever, traded away or whatever. Excuse me, traded away, and to see your employers plotting and scheming to get your replacement while you're still under
Panicking while doing
contract,
it. Like
panicking
they
while
were just
doing
like,
it,
we got to call everyone. Call the Patriots. Call the Patriots. You tell them what we'll give them and see what
and
they need. Like, like, like that's what it was like. Like I wish I was over exaggerating, but they were literally sitting there like, okay, so what
yes,
can we give up? Are we okay with giving
wheeling
all of
and
this up?
dealing. Let's make a deal, wheeling and dealing,
Yeah, are we okay to
and
give all this up?
then to see your employer finally say, well,
We'll just stick with them.
we'll just roll with Daniel and try to get him some weapons if we can't do this. And then it's because then now you're like, wow, we couldn't do the best idea, so we'll just go with the basic ideas. And I mean, clearly, I'm hoping Daniel Jones knows he's basic. If not,
If he
dear
doesn't,
Daniel Jones, you are basic. That's basically what I could say about him being basic. Daniel Jones is
terrible.
basic. And now he knows for sure that he is because his own employers plotted and schemed and were willing to give away their firstborn grandchildren to get rid of him with a draft pick.
And it still bothers me that they have Saquon on the record saying, "I already told you where I want to be."
Yeah,
It bothers me. It still
yeah,
bothers me.
yeah.
That's all I can hear sometimes. I can hear in the back of my head, I already told you where I want to be. And they
It's
still said with a straight face, just go check the market. Just go see what you can get.
and he said it in a somber tone because
He
that
was
was
like a
on the
little kid,
episode.
like, I already told you where I want to be. Like,
Yeah, it was a somber
he's
tone. I
over it. He
felt
was
like,
over it.
yeah, he was totally over it. He was tired over they was
Again, I
screwed him around for several years.
already told you. How many times did he tell them?
No,
That's my question. How many times? He
yeah.
said, like you said, somber. He was annoyed. He was over it. How many times did this man tell them? You could even see in a different interview from a week, maybe 2 weeks before. I think it was at the end of the season. They were asking Saquon, "Did they tell you anything about what they're gonna do, money wise, anything for your contract?" He's like, "That's up to them. I've already told them, where I want to be, and they said that
Exactly.
they need to figure it out." That's what he said. Then weeks later, hey, so we think you should test the market. I already told you where I want to be. Like it, he's over. He was over it. He was over it. When you're somebody like of Saquon's caliber, and your own people are telling you to test the market repeatedly, or like we think you should go out there and see what you can get when you told them over and over where you want to be, it's very disrespectful. If the Bucks told Giannis to go test the market, man, Giannis would go be on a different team, or
Yes.
at least repeatedly telling him that over and over again.
Well,
It means that
first of
everything you did
all,
for them didn't matter.
right, and besides the point that the Bucks know what they have with him, right? They
Mm-hmm.
know what they have with
They know
him,
exactly. They know what they have,
and they wouldn't need to tell him to go test the market because they know that the market would grab him up in a second.
yeah.
Right. So the fact that this particular leadership team in the New York Giants front office didn't know that there was value in Saquon,
Right.
but
Do
at
you
the
think we'll
same
get any
time,
value?
but at the same time, would say that he was the face of the franchise, but not understand the dollars and cents, and that cents SENSE, because not the CENTS, because the sense of it is he is the face and we need to keep him because that's what brings people in. He's exciting. So
Mara said it.
there's
He's
that.
the most popular player by far. Like
Yeah.
that's saying it with confidence.
Yeah.
By far. And even he made a Facebook version, by far our most popular player. Like, so then you friggin' keep him.
Right.
What's so hard about that?
Yeah.
You know what goes down when you lose your most popular player? Jersey sales.
Big
You know what's next after that? Ticket sales.
Ticket sales, yeah.
So you lose money getting rid of Saquon. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? There are probably thousands of people who agreed with me and said, I'm not going to a Giants game this year. Thousands of
Yeah.
people.
Oh
That's a
yeah.
lot of money that they're losing. So
Yeah.
if they want to keep playing this game with our emotions, they'll see what happens. It's
And did
already
you
it's
see?
already happening.
And now that we're talking about, did you see that they were at a like a combine? I guess it was the combine in this episode, and Saquon was there. Was it in Philly? Was it a Philly area? It was
It was
at
Philly.
Penn State and something like that. I don't know where it was
Yeah.
actually, but it was in the PA area where
Yep.
Saquon was there, already engaged in
Yep.
his new team environment.
Yep.
And I
Because
guess
he's an all-in player. He's all in wherever he's at.
and they had him there, working with some of the guys that were coming up, trying to see who could. He was basically helping out with almost like a draft situation. It was like it was, I bet you they didn't do that with the Giants. They didn't include him in those types of decisions and using his experience for that. But good for him. I'm still not happy about it, but I can't be mad at the brother for trying to get his check. Got to get paid. Everybody's got to eat.
It is very hard to recover from this. Joe
what
Schoen has
will
dug
what
himself
will
a
we
hole.
see next?
I don't know, but we'll definitely talk about it on our next podcast.
Absolutely.
So, and we'll just be live streaming at this point, guys, because there's too much to talk about for me to even try to edit this into like a 10-minute video, which is why we're just on here venting for what, almost an hour now at this point. I've been
It
live
doesn't
for
even
46 minutes.
yeah. So we're until we'll go back to doing our, we'll have some live episodes during the season, but for now this makes the most sense.
Well,
And
don't say some, you're shorting us. We go live every week after games. Immediately after the game, we go live.
that's true.
So
Yes, you're right.
So she's being modest, guys. So, but
we,
go ahead. What were you gonna say? You go. I don't
we
know if you're gonna say
definitely are
anything.
going to be doing, yes, we'll be looking at those preseason games, even though
Yes.
those are crap anyway, but
I don't think we're
whatever.
gonna do anything for them. I don't think we should,
Unless something
unless we see something
terrible comes,
surprising.
something good, really amazing, or really bad happens in the
Yeah, like
preseason
if
game.
Malik Neighbors has a Victor Cruz like game like he did against the
Yeah.
Jets in the preseason,
Yeah,
that'd be something to talk about.
yeah.
But if he
Look at
gets
him.
like one play and it's like 15 yards,
Yeah,
whatever. I'm not talking about it.
I'm just hoping there's something that will be exciting out of it. If not, then anybody who is anti-Giants will enjoy our podcast because we do get more people like watching us when we're angry, and then all of the Giants fans who are joyous if something wonderful happens and we start to see a glimmer of hope. You can join us for that, but I don't really anticipate too many glimmers of hope. So
Don't believe the poppycock and all that crap.
no,
My
no.
mom's trying to be happy and
Well,
optimistic.
you gotta have a positive.
You gotta
note.
try. I would rather prepare for the negative and just stay negative and just be like, this is what's gonna happen. I'm preparing for the worst.
Yeah.
The worst
Yeah.
being we win 2 games this season.
Oh wow.
If we
Wow.
don't win 2 games this season, I'll be flabbergasted because I assumed we'd get at least 2. At least 2. If we go 0-17, the fact that I'm thinking about that just shows how bad the situation is.
Oh my God. 0-17.
It could happen. It could happen in the sense that all the games we lose, majority of them are like bad games, and then the games that we could have won, we lost by like 1 point, and then we just go 0-17. That could happen. We
I thought they were.
we don't have a closer.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley came out in the second half and was our momentum. We don't have that anymore.
No,
Like
we don't.
so
We don't
it
have
is
that.
what it is. I mean, we never really could close. That's why we lose a lot of games, guys. But like it is what it is. I don't want to drag this on because now I'm just starting to get depressed again thinking about the Giants. We will be back next week for reaction to episode 5 of Hard Knocks. We can only hope that it can't get any worse than what it's already gotten. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We do get a lot of people who watch our videos that are not subscribed. Also, please don't forget to share this with your friends. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think about the Giants. You can even talk smack. It doesn't matter. We don't care at this point. We will agree with you. So, please join the family bonding family. That's the ultimate goal. We just want the family to
Join
grow.
us. Yep.
So, but until then, we'll catch you guys in the next one.
See you then.
Take care.